You mentioned earlier the health of the fighters being,
Yeah.
a primary focus concern for you guys. But the NFL right now, they're dealing with a lawsuit based on concussions.
Right.
Are you concerned that down the road the UFC could face similar type suits from fighters because obviously it's a rough sport.
It's a contact sport.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. We've never hid that, though. One of the things is that I think when you enter the octagon, you know as a fighter you're going in to compete in a combat sport. We have been very proactive at engaging in studies, particularly with the Cleveland Clinic, on taking our fighters over the last 3 or 4 years and getting baselines on MRIs and CAT scans, and really doing everything we can to have a preventative process in place so that if we are to see any changes in our athletes, we immediately can address those issues, as opposed to having maybe some pressure to say, hey, this athlete needs to perform next week on Sunday because it's a big game. Our athletes don't have to perform on any given time frame. Right? So if someone gets a concussion or they're hurt, they're automatically suspended for 90 days until a doctor then releases them to be able to go back into training. So the time period for them to rest and let their body heal, it's a much different situation than other sports have.
Right, but are you confident that 5, 10, 20 years from now, the UFC won't be subject to the same kind of complaints the NFL is facing today?
You don't know what's going to happen in the future. All you can do is take the precautions that are reasonable and that we are doing right now to make sure that our athletes are safe. Now, we've had third-party independent organizations like Johns Hopkins University come in and did a study for a number of years, and after studying our sport and the injuries in our sport, came to the conclusion that unequivocally our sport is safer than boxing, it's safer than most other combat sports, even as silly as it sounds, had a lower injury rate than cheerleading. So when you look at the details and you look at the facts, because of the regulation that's put in place to control this, and that's why we want it to be regulated in New York, we have limited the injuries and the level of risk that is associated for the athletes.